Coming up, we have stories about daughter-in-law versus mother-in-law, going back on promises, disciplining each child differently, bro, pretending your girlfriend is not your girlfriend. Why? Husband is hung up on his ex. That's a problem. Not showing up for graduation and wedding superstitions. Oh my. We'll see where the road takes us here. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. Father Mo's best. Yeah. This one is from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Calling Up My Daughter-in-Law and Demanding to Be Invited to Her Mother and Sibling Outing to Make a Point and Telling Her Fair is Fair? What? When the kids were much younger, I would take just my daughters out for some mother bonding time. It is something I have adored for a long time and my daughters loved to do it. We do it every couple of months, just a nice time to catch up. The issue came when my daughter-in-law found out about these outings. About 2 years ago, she learned about them and made a huge deal about not being invited. It got to the point that if I didn't invite her to the daughters' dates, my son would go no contact. I caved and my relationship with my daughters took a hit. Over time, they didn't want to hang out with daughter-in-law, saying they just wanted to catch up with me and not pretend that she is their actual sister. I also agree I do not see her as a daughter. I didn't raise her, and I don't have that bond with her at all. This brings me to the present. I learned that she is going on a girls' trip with her mom and sisters. I wasn't invited. This is where I might be the asshole. I called her asking for an invite, saying that I am her mom and that she is excluding me from the family. She told me no, and it started an argument. My son got in on it, and I used the same text he sent me about not being welcoming to family. In the end, I told them either I'm invited since fair is fair, or she needs to not invite herself along to my daughter's outings. She called me a petty bitch, but agreed to not be invited anymore. My daughters think it's hilarious, but my son and daughter-in-law are pissed. OP mentions in the comments that she spent time with her son one-on-one as well when they were younger, although those outings seemed to stop once her son got married. This gal sounds like a great time. Top comment here, I'm annoyed with the son. Backing up your wife is one thing, but there's a clear double standard here. Either the wife sees his mom as family or she does not. He should have stayed out of it or pointed out the disparity to his wife, but butting in again to side with his hypocritical wife is too much. OP should let them go no contact and enjoy each other's miserable company. Ugh, NTA. You know what? You're right. It's NTA. It's not an asshole move. She played it the exact way that she should have played it. And yes, I agree. We get some petty confetti rocking for this. We get some laggy petty confetti, but petty confetti nonetheless. This is petty confetti territory here. Yeah, no, this is not an asshole move because she had no intention on actually going, right? I don't think so. It seemed at least like she had no intention. She was just proving a point by demanding in the invitation because she was mirroring here to show her the hypocrisy and how ridiculous this actually was. I am not surprised that son and daughter-in-law are pissed. Of course they are, because they got exposed for being ridiculous. She wanted to play victim, right? She wanted to play victim in the beginning. She wanted to play like she was being excluded and wronged. This might be the kind of person who will find a way to make themselves wronged in every situation. Yes, perpetual victim, professional victim, but also huge-ass hypocrite, because when the same damn situation showed up, mom reversed Uno'd here. And she's like, well, no, of course not. Oh, of course not. Oh, I see. You're a piece of shit. That's what the issue is. Okay. And son here has just gone all in on it and has bought in. And now at some point he's going to be like, I guess that is kind of bullshit, isn't it? But he's not going to, he's not going to answer differently than his wife. He's not going to create that additional conflict here. You know, you always want to leave a door open for your children to come back in if they're out on some crazy adventure. So with son here, it would be like, hey, when you're ready to pull your head out of her ass and your own ass and let me know how ridiculously hypocritical you see this to be, then yeah, I'd love to have a fruitful relationship with you. But right now, the relationship that you, OP, have with them is just tainted with toxicity. So why? 0 is greater than -1. I know it's your own child, but your own child has been possessed by the demon spirit of his wife. You're not having true quality time with him, even one-on-one. Even if you were able to have that time now, it wouldn't be true quality time because he is not who he used to be. He is the puppet to his wife's demand. Sad, but true. Hi there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one is from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Will I Be the Astronaut 56 Male for Going Back on a Promise to My Kids? Firstly, thank you for reading this. Going back and forth on this has eaten me alive, and an outside view beyond my father will help a great deal. When I met my now deceased wife, she had already had a successful career and owned a home while I was struggling to find my footing in my industry. She helped me get to mature and focus on my career more seriously, and eventually I broke through and started contributing with the bills. Even then, she was making in the 300Ks while I was scratching and crawling to earn 50K. Well, eventually we ended up having 2 kids, 19 female, 16 male, before she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and passed away pretty shortly after. Trigger warning, sorry. There wasn't one. She had made me a promise to pass down the home I was set to inherit upon her death, and I did so with zero hesitancy, not knowing what life would have in store. The kids were made aware of it because they were present when it was laid upon me. It was very difficult for me to lose the love of my life, the apple of my eye, and I think it blinded me from seeing how difficult the promise would be to keep. So, backing up just a quick second here, the promise was she had made me promise to pass down the home I was set to inherit upon her death, and I did so with zero hesitancy, without knowing what life would have in store. So we promised to hand it down to the kids. 4 months after her death, I ended up shopping at a Kroger's when I met what is now my fiance, 29 female, who has 3 kids of her own, 10, 8, and 4. We've been together for over 8 months, and the discussion has come out about moving in together, but she's wanting me to sell the house and buy a new construction together that wouldn't have memories of her around every corner, which I completely understand. The two issues that are currently eating me alive are that the kids are extremely upset that we'd sell mom's home, that I paid some bills for too, and my father is worried that by selling this home to buy a new one, I'd lose 50% equity if we separate in the future, which would mean my biological kids would only stand to inherit 50%, while my fiance's kids would inherit the other 50%, which I don't think the kids are aware of because it'd probably set off a nuclear bomb in the home. I broke the news to the kids on Tuesday about our plans, and they've all but ceased talking to me and have spoken pure vitriol on social media about me since then. But it hurts to see that because we need to become a blended family, and they need to accept that they're going to have a stepmom and step siblings, and money shouldn't get in the way of family harmony, in my opinion. Will I be the astronaut for reneging on my promise to deceased wife and going through with the sale of the family home to ensure our new blended family can have a larger home to grow up in? There's a top comment here I'll dive into here, but yeah, OP, yeah. Top comment, you're the asshole 100,000%. Don't even question it. The house you are now living in is not yours, but your kids. You are just renting it. Therefore, you are not allowed morally to sell it and use the kids' money to do whatever you want. According to your promise, your kids are more than justified to be upset. Question though, did you contribute at all to buying that house, or did your ex-wife buy it all by herself? Anyways, you are being blinded by your new relationship, and I would hate to see you writing back in a few months or years saying how your kids don't talk to you and you are so alone. We've all seen those posts. Don't be an ass, man, and put your kids' desires and emotions first. It has only been a few months since their mother's death. Also want to say that you moving on to a new woman 4 months after your wife's death is kind of an asshole move. Yeah. That's 4 months. Yeah, that is quick. And okay, so there are a couple of red flags here. We'll go ahead and throw this now while we review them. Love who you love. However, the fact that the finances are now being pivoted from the children who are supposed to be the recipients of it to his new girlfriend, who is 30 years younger than he, is a red flag, is it not? Also, either this jabroni doesn't know what a prenup is, or is just choosing to ignore the fact that he could protect this home or any proceeds from this home from his new bride becoming privy to it at all. He could protect that. He absolutely could. And of course, she's wanting him to sell the home that they have now so they can build anew without memories of her everywhere. But that's not really, I mean, legally, yes, it's your decision, OP, but I agree with the top commenter here. Morally, it is not. You made a promise, number one, and you can't pass this home down if you sell it, ya jabroni. I hope she haunts your ass. If you follow through with this at all, I hope she haunts you like crazy. And your new bride. Did they get married? Wait. Now, fiance. Okay, they're not married yet. They're not married yet. You know what? What worries me the most here is that OP, your ex-wife, did so much, did so well financially, and I don't know what the home looks like. I don't know what it's worth, but your lifestyle was not reflective of your financial achievements. It was mainly of your wife's. And now this girlfriend, now fiance, that's 30 years younger, is probably seeing all these achievements that were really achieved by your wife and thinking that you have more than you actually have. Really, all you have is what's supposed to be handed down to the kids. And again, love who you love. If there's a 30-year difference, there's a 30-year difference. That only matters in the context of her trying to make you sell things that you shouldn't be selling. That's a red flag for her. It is a red flag for her. If she doesn't want to live there, go ahead and transfer it to the 19-year-old. Start fresh. There are so many markers that make it feel like she's after something here. Candy Thunder says, I said, if you meet someone 4 months after I pass, I'm haunting you. Then you said it, and I said we are on the same page. Abso-friggin-lutely. Absolutely. Here's the deal, though. I'd be like, look, Bish. I'd show up in ghost form and be like, look, if you stay in this house so that it may be passed down to my children, I will not haunt you. If you move to a new place, I will haunt the shit out of you. Every time you're in the shower, every time you're trying to take a shit, doesn't matter. When you feel most exposed and vulnerable, that's when I will be haunting you. Thank you very much. This could be him seeking solace in this, in her. It could, him finding her could be his coping mechanism. Whatever happens with their relationship and how they found each other and whatever, fine. But he made a promise to his dying wife that he would protect this home and hand it to the children. And obviously, if financial hardship hit and he had no choice, like he couldn't afford to hang on to it, that's one thing, right? That's not the case. It's not a hardship that's preventing him from hanging on to it. It is his new girlfriend / fiance's preference. It's not a hardship, it's a preference. And for making that decision based on a preference, yeah, you're an asshole. You're definitely an asshole. I'm saying two, but I'm really meaning one. This is an ask on one thing. Like, he's blinded. Completely blinded, and I'm sure she's using every tool she's got to blind him. Greatly appreciate it. Dr. Sweet says, but asking the kids to move on that quickly and accept a new family is messed up. Agreed. So separate from the house situation here, throwing them into this, which he doesn't even address, except for it's going to help us become a blended family, not giving them any kind of input or talking to them or listening to them about anything here, just reporting that they're angry. Think he's making decisions based on his desires, not on what's the best thing for his family. Clearly, he's lost right now. He's just lost and just choosing. I mean, if this is how he's coping because he's just freaking out, that's one thing. But cope in a way that isn't damaging to your family. How about that? Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one is from Am I the Devil? So it's clearly gonna go well. Lots of hope for OP at the moment. And this is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Letting Husband Punish Our Son? I, 46 female, and my husband, 47 male, have 2 children. Son, 10 male, and daughter, 16 female. My son often conflicts with my daughter. He's sensitive. He likes silence, goes to bed early, makes breakfast for himself in the morning, never asks for help with homework, and he's almost the best student in school. My daughter is completely different. She's been active, punchy, bright, and loud since birth. Yes, it was a lot of work for my husband and me when almost every week her teachers complained about her overly active behavior, but it was a pleasant work. I want to say that our daughter has never done anything out of malice. She's just active, and she can be very sensitive to criticism. So my husband and I never punish her. Oh. We tried to punish her once in elementary school, but she ended up crying in the corner so bitterly my husband couldn't stand it and let her go. She's a freedom lover. Recently, she became interested in music, and on her 16th birthday, we gave her expensive music speakers that can play clear and loud sound. My son complained that his sister listens to loud music at night and he cannot sleep. I want to clarify 2 things. 1, my husband and I sleep in the basement, completely converted into a bedroom, as we usually go to bed late, as does our daughter, about 3 to 4 a.m. Wait, what? Hold on. I don't care when you guys go to bed, but your 16-year-old daughter goes to bed at 3 to 4 a.m.? And it's partly our fault that we didn't notice that the music our daughter listens to can be too loud. 2, my son has just started school holidays. He does not need to go to bed early to get enough sleep, but he continues to do so. So my husband and I talked to our daughter and asked her how she felt about listening to music quieter or listening to it during the day. Or using headphones. Come on. She refused, saying that the quiet music interfered with her inspiration and that she couldn't think well during the day, only at night. Headphones. #headphones. Come on. Then my husband suggested our son move into our bedroom, but he said that it was dark in the basement, stuffy, although my husband and I find the room quite cozy, and he would have a headache in the morning, so the problem has not been solved. Yesterday, our son threw a tantrum in the morning. He was crying and shouting at his sister. He and his sister had a big fight. He shouted rude things in her face. Actually, my husband and I tried to raise him gently and not punish him, but this time my husband was adamant. He said our son has to clean his sister's room for a week. Although I was against punishment this time, I did not object to my husband in front of the children because it would undermine the authority of the father in their eyes. At least that's what psychologists write. I talked about the situation with my sister. She accused me and my husband of favoritism, and it hurt me to hear that. If there are parents here, they should understand me. A mother and father cannot love one child more or less, but they can love children with different loves. Am I the astronaut? That's the fancy bougie astronaut. Am I the astronaut? Top comment here, Opie is honestly failing both children. The son by not standing up for him when he makes a totally reasonable request, and the daughter by not teaching her how to function in the world. How the hell is she supposed to keep a job if she never learns to take criticism or responsibility for her actions? Yeah. Also, how old was the son? She's 16. He's 10. He's 10, and she's playing like loud as hell music till 3 or 4 a.m. What? She's like, he doesn't need to go to bed early because it's on holiday right now. Yeah, but you know what? His body is used to a routine of going to bed at a certain time, and when you break routine, when it comes to sleep, your body gets jacked up. You know this, Mom. That's not a hard thing to figure out here. There are so many red flags across this story with never disciplining either of their children, and the one time when they're having a knockdown, drag-out argument, instead of letting them figure it out, Dad jumps in, intervenes, and punishes one party. What the are you doing, Dad? So far beyond. They enabled her behavior. Enabled it. I don't know how the 10-year-old kid is turning out to be so functional in the house of just fluid structure. There's no structure. No structure at all. It's like, go to bed whenever you want. Do whatever you want. We're not going to you're not going to get in trouble for anything except if you come after her. If you come after your sister, I'm going to put my foot down. That's a major red flag, Dad. And also, your kids, you've not prepared your children to be functional in this world at all. Let them work their shit out. Have consequences when they choose poorly. You are going to be writing so many stories like, I don't understand why my kids can't function in the real world. I wonder. I feel like that's one of our biggest jobs as parents is not just to love our children, but it's to shape them to be successful adults, right? Help them get ready for the harsh world that awaits them when they leave the nest. You, OP, and your spouse here have done nothing. You have been lazy parents. Yeah, you know what? Seeing your kid stand in the corner crying is hard. It does not feel good. Not everything about being a parent feels good. It sucks. There is a lot of pain associated with making your child choose the right thing, especially if they're bucking against it. Navy Thunder throws a freaking fit every time she has to get her hair done. If it was in your house, you'd be like, okay, we just won't do it. And then she'd be walking around with a friggin' rat's nest everywhere, but she'd be happy until we had to shave her head. You have to instill some structure. There have to be consequences, and you have to prepare them for the real world. What upbringing did you have, OP? I'm guessing your parents didn't coddle you and enable everything and let you get away with everything. I'm guessing that wasn't the case. So why? This is just lazy, and it is doing so much damage to your children. Not just one of them, both of them. You both get the ass con one, and you are delusional to think that you are doing the right thing here. Everybody thinks they're doing the right thing. I legitimately feel like this is just laziness. Good gravy. I don't understand. This just makes me angry. And I know that there are a lot of parents like this, where it's just easier to let them do whatever the hell they want. It's easier. Yeah, it is easier. And then it's harder for them. It's easier on you and harder on them. When you do that, you are choosing selfishly to not put the pain on yourself, and you're instead punting it to your child later in life. Good job. Way to go. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from relationship advice, actually, and is titled, How Do I Inform 29 Male, This Woman, 29 Female, That She Is Not My Girlfriend? With an update. I am in a peculiar situation. This woman we will call Rachel is under the impression that we are in a relationship. This has been going on for 4 years now. I have never asked her to be my girlfriend, but there was a miscommunication at some point. Now, I won't lie, I played into it a lot and shouldn't have. I did all the couples things couples do, but never asked her to be my girlfriend at all, or referred to her as my girlfriend. I didn't stop her from calling me her boyfriend or wanting to celebrate our anniversary. In my mind, however, I was single. So when I hear her ask about marriage or moving in together, it makes no sense. I figured she would one day realize I never officially asked her and then realize it before things get out of hand, but she never did. I got news for you, brozo. That's not how relationships work. It's not like you have to follow a very formal process. You're like, well, technically, I never asked her to be my girlfriend, so she's not my girlfriend. That's not how that works. She is your girlfriend. You said you do all the boyfriend girlfriend things. You celebrate anniversaries. You just you don't say she's your girlfriend. You let her say that she's your boyfriend, though. You have a girlfriend, dipshit. Wow. Everything was fine until about a month ago. I met this beautiful woman. Oh, for sake. She's not my girlfriend either. There's this food truck that isn't far from my house. I asked her for her number and we've hit it off. Things are getting serious and I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend soon. Before I do that, I need to address the elephant in the room with Rachel. Edit for clarification purposes, I was wrong. I'm remorseful and disgusted with my actions. I know people think I'm not remorseful, but that's not true at all, and what I did was disgusting. All right, before we dive into the update, okay, you're 29! You're 29. This is not an elementary school playground girlfriend. You have a girlfriend. You have a 4-year relationship with someone that you think is just benefiting you while you're technically still single. And then, for clarification purposes, I was wrong. I'm remorseful and disgusted with my actions. No, you're not. because you knew it was wrong this whole time. It wasn't until people called you out on Reddit where you're remorseful about it. By the way, how you gonna explain that to Taco Truck Girl? Huh? How? Like, well, see, what happened was, technically, I never asked her, but I guess we kind of were. It's like common law girlfriend or something like that. Who raised this boy? Who raised this boy? All right, we'll get into the update here, but my goodness, what? Here is the update. I did it. Update. I took everyone's advice and broke up with Rachel instead of saying we weren't in a relationship. That was the advice everyone gave you. To the criticism, I hear you and take full responsibility. My behavior was abhorrent, and looking back at it, I'm appalled by my behavior. Bullshit. Bullshit, sir. Bullshit. The food truck girl, we'll call her Liz, and I have made it official. I've done some serious self-regulation, taking in everyone's comments, and I'm prepared to do better and become a better person. I've definitely become a better person in this experience, and will use this experience in my relationship with Liz and also my friendships. As I reflected, I realized I can't change the past. All I can do is show a willingness to grow and learn. And the Bullshitter of the Year award goes to... Top comment here. Do you know what the horrible thing is? You're not going to be a better person because you got the immediate validation from being with Liz and breaking Rachel's heart. And I'd be willing to guess Liz is younger too, isn't she? And you've told her an edited part of the truth, maybe not overt lies, but definitely omissions to make yourself feel better and erase her into being with you because you know just how deplorable what you did was. You haven't done any of the work needed to figure out why you did such a horrible thing for so long and discarded her for a new, younger model. You're going to treat Rachel as a lesson rather than an actual person and tuck this whole thing of what you did to her in the corner of your mind because you want to protect your self-image and that you're a good person until you're forced to when someone calls you out for your shit. Men like you are painfully common and give our whole gender the bad name that it has. And let me tell you my prediction for your future. This whole thing with Liz is going to fizzle out when the new relationship energy fades and she starts to see the real you some more. You are going to check Rachel's social media, probably telling yourself that it's out of guilt and that you hope she finds someone worthy of her. But that's not the truth. You're looking for the satisfaction of being her last one. You want the validation of knowing that you've ruined her for future relationships so you can take pride in never having to be compared. You want her to be left crying and alone forever so that you can come back and pick her up as a toy. You want her to be the backup option that you can crawl back to in case this thing with Liz doesn't work out. You're going to absolutely go ballistic when you see her moving on. You'll try to brush it off by saying you're happy for her, but that you know that you're not. You're hurt that she can move on because it hurts your small, sad ego. The discomfort is going to eat away at your insides and make things tense with Liz. Assuming your relationship lasts long enough for Rachel to reach the end of her grieving and healing stages needed for wasting 4 years with you. If it didn't end with her by then, it's going to end much sooner. You'd be left alone and bitter with nothing but yourself and company. And you know better than anyone how awful it is being you. You'll treat Liz as another lesson in your life. Start to resent her for leading you astray from Rachel. You'll resent Rachel for having the audacity to move on. You'll probably get misogynistic, more so if you aren't already. Slut, whore, bitch, females, derogatory. Will probably get into your vocabulary and inner thoughts a lot as you try to blame women for all your problems to protect your ego. But you know the truth. It's you. It's always been you. And as you fail relationship after relationship and your malice towards women as a collective grows, as much as you deny it, it's a fact. Because you get the help you need to make amends to be a better person? Yes. Will you? Highly doubt it. I've seen the end result of men like you, dying bitter and alone, making everyone miserable because it makes them feel a bit better about the soul-crushing emptiness inside. Your only female company will be the women that you have to pay to be around you, mostly service workers that you harass. If you make enough money, maybe you'll be able to get a trophy wife, but you'll resent her for not loving you and only being there for your money. But why would she? You know better than anyone how awful you are and unworthy you are to be loved. Best of luck with life, dude. You're gonna need it. Holy shit. The best part of all of this was that was written by a dude. He said, you're the kind of guy that gives our gender a bad name. A weird way to propose, but okay. Wow. Somebody, like yes. OP, ask Han Juan, OP, Brozo. We know that already. OP. Delulu. Sorry, I just beat the shit out of my microphone. I'm sorry. I love you. Please don't be mad at me. It was an accident. And OP. DFHB reject. But also top commenter who hurt you, because there's a lot there. There's a lot there that like it's not just about OP here. There's some kind of experience in life that top commenter has had with someone like OP, and he just let it all come out to OP. OP needed to hear it. I hope OP takes that information and really absorbs it, but I call bullshit because we're getting the scripted response from OP. Once Reddit called him out, he's like, I am appalled by my actions. It was wrong. I am terrible. It is a learning experience, and all I can do is try to be better. That's a scripted response. That's it. Scripted. Need to send the top commenter to Rachel? Yeah. Oh, good gravy. Commenter has a sister or best girlfriend that got the treatment. Yeah. I would agree. Has had some kind of run-in with someone like that. And I don't disagree with everything top commenter is saying here. I wish OP would actually stop becoming addicted to his own bullshit long enough to actually listen to those words, to actually feel the weight of those words. But the only words that matter to OP are his own. That's it. And here's the funny part. OP in the original post here only brings up this technicality of never officially asking her to be his girlfriend after 4 years because of Food Truck Girl. He brought it up at a point where he's like, yeah, and it matters now because I found someone else. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. More than that, you're a coward. My God, just be honest with someone. If you don't want to be with them, don't be with them. It is not that hard of a thing to do. And guess what? The person that you're choosing not to be with is going to appreciate your forthrightness. They're going to appreciate your honesty when you tell them what you're feeling and that you're not in it anymore, instead of lying and trying to come up with some bullshit technicality from 4 years ago. I never officially asked you to be my girlfriend. Yeah, that's right, because you graduated middle school a long time ago. You don't have to do shit like that anymore. Grow the up. Have enough respect for the person that has been with you for 4 years and has loved you to at least tell her you don't love her. At least have enough respect for her to say, I'm not in this anymore because I fell in love with somebody at a food truck. Have enough respect for other human beings to not be a piece of shit, OP. Please. I just spit at the camera. Maybe somebody hurt me too. I don't know. But... Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from AITA and is titled, I heard my husband cry in the bathroom after we bumped into his ex. With an update. Oh no. My husband and I met 2 years ago. He proposed 6 months later and told me he knew I was the one when he met me and that he didn't want to waste time or lose me. I was and still am head over heels and agreed. We have been married for 6 months and expecting our first baby. Last weekend we bumped into his ex. They were together for 9 years, but she ended the relationship when he didn't take the relationship to the next level. When we got engaged and married, my husband texted her to tell her and to apologize and talked about fate and how some things aren't meant to be. I remember asking him why, and he said that he owed it to her so that she doesn't hear it from other people and not be prepared. They broke up 3 years ago. Edit, not 4. It was October through December of 21. Bad math. But she broke up with him, though. Why does he owe her any kind of explanation? No. This is... She was pregnant and holding hands with a kid that could be 7 or 8 years old, and she was with a man who was obviously her partner, and they were very affectionate towards each other. My husband said hi, even though we could walk by unnoticed by them, but he insisted to talk. When we got home, I heard him crying in the bathroom. Now he has been depressed and distant the whole week. I realized he must have written to her after we got home, and he showed me his phone, and yes, he has. Again, apologized for what he did and told her that some things are not meant to be. She's got a kid and another one on the way, and she's with her spouse/partner. Why? Would I be the asshole if I confronted him about what's going on? Why is he doing this? Edit throwaway, don't want him finding me. Before we dive into the update, yeah, he's definitely still hooked on the ex. But he's got, I don't understand. Why? OP and he had been together for 2 years. They met 2 years ago. He proposed 6 months later. He proposed 6 months later and told me he knew I was the one. Okay, so 6 months into the relationship, they proposed. They've been married for 6 months and they're expecting their first baby. Okay. So he's regretting his life now? Question mark on the teleprompter. He's still in love with her. Why is he still hung up on her though? Never got over her. Clearly didn't get over her. But you have so much like right in front of you. Wake up. He's in the bathroom crying about it. He's obviously having these feelings that are controlling him. So it needs to be a discussion here. Interesting. Okay, here we go. Edit for update. I didn't expect this, to be honest. Thank you for your comments. I showed my husband a very well-written comment. The comment, NTA, but it sounds like that cliche story. Guy is happy with the status quo and keeping the girlfriend around for 9 years, and while he says he's open to the idea of marriage to string her along, he believes it's unnecessary and doesn't actually make plans to get an engagement ring or pop the question. He just assumes if he runs the clock, she'll be stuck with him for life. His ex decides that she's had enough of his placating words and realizes if she wants to get married and start a family, it can't or won't be with him. After she takes charge of her life and dumps him, he begs her to take him back and that he will give her the ring and wedding she always wanted, but it's too late. But it's too little and too late. Curtains close on this relationship. He takes a year or so to heal and then finds you, who checks off most of his boxes, and instead of risking the same thing happening again, he proposes to you in 6 months of dating, and everything happens at warp speed because he has learned from his last serious relationship. Don't leave it up to chance. Don't string someone along. Him bumping into his ex makes him realize he still has feelings for the one who got away, that if he hadn't been so stubborn and slow about getting a ring and making his ex happy, that could have been him. Again, apologized for what he did and told her that some things are not meant to be. He keeps telling himself that because it's easier to blame fate and absolve himself about being a shit boyfriend who was wasting her time and ruined the relationship single-handedly. I'm glad his ex got her happy ending. I'm sorry your marriage is starting to show cracks because your husband may be incapable of love and had an agenda when marrying you. He might have married you to prove to his ex that he could commit, like when he texted her about the engagement, rather than because of his deep and lasting love for you. OP's response and update. Hi again, hope you read this. So I showed my husband this comment and told him that this was basically how I feel things were, but that someone else wrote it better. First he got upset and defensive, and then he started arguing and telling me to leave him alone. I have, for a week, been nothing but supportive and leaving him alone. Then he started crying and asked to read it again. He sat silent for like 15 minutes reading it, but not once did he deny or try denying it or call me crazy or at least try to explain. If I know myself, this is over. I don't play second fiddle. I don't do consolation prizes, and I absolutely am not going to have another woman being the main character in my own story. So I told him this was over and that I need a break to sort my feelings out, but that this will eventually end in divorce because I know myself very well. He didn't say anything. Anything. Just sat silent. I know his type. The only way he will realize my worth is when he has lost me, just like he did with his ex. People like him are frugal with their feelings. He strung her along because he didn't want to give her all of him. Then he turned around and gave me exactly what she wanted, but deprived me from exactly what I wanted that he gave her. Men like him will never give all of themselves because he probably thinks he would lose control if he gave all of him to a woman. What a waste of a man. Holy shit. Good for you, OP. But, why does it have to happen when she's pregnant? Like, now I have no doubt, like, OP is going to be, this doesn't mean this kid is going to not be happy. I'm just like, is this his freak out? Is this part of his freak out? Maybe, but it seems like a recurring thing. Like he messaged the ex as soon as they got engaged. She's haunting him forever. And I'm going to go on a limb here and say that she doesn't give two shits about him, but she is still haunting him because she is the one that got away. And OP, just now, like finding out how intense it is. So the engagement thing would have been the red flag where I would have been like, hold up, time out. Before we get married, I need to know that this shit isn't an issue anymore. And that could have prevented the mess that you're in right now. I mean, it was a big red flag. If the first thing that happens after you get engaged is your partner, your now fiance, is messaging their ex to let them know, yeah, it's a red flag. Like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, do not get married. Have a conversation, get to the bottom of this. But he placated long enough that he convinced her that it was all good, and then they got married, and then he's unraveling. It could be a combination of things. Could be the regret. It could be the fact that he knows he's getting ready to become a father and not with the person he wanted to be a father with. It could be a lot of things happening here, but he's got to get a hold of his shit. What she says here at the end is really interesting. Is this a thing where men? So she says, men like him will never give all of themselves because he thinks he'll lose control if he gave all of himself to a woman. Never really thought about it that way. I mean, there's always, no, it doesn't make, what do you think about that line? Is that something that you feel like you've encountered in life or that you can see being a common thing? It's absolutely a thing. That's not love. That's not love. Like showing someone 25% of yourself or keeping X% in reserve, that's not love. It feels like he cared more about the competition. He cared more that he lost. Like his ego couldn't handle it. His ego couldn't handle getting dumped. So it's like he had to send shots over every time he accomplished something that he wanted to rub in her face. But she doesn't care. He's the only one who cares. Being human sucks, right? Like there are all kinds of problems with being a human. And as a man, like we have emotions. There are lots of things wrong in my head. Like it doesn't mean I'm not going to show those things to my wife. It doesn't mean I'm not going to share those things with her because they're going to affect her. Whether you treat someone differently because you're feeling a way, you radiate a vibe no matter what. I know she tells me all the time if I'm radiating a vibe, and I know I'm radiating a vibe. If I'm stressed, like you have to share yourself with someone to do life with them. It's the with part of this. If you're going to do life with someone as a team, you got to know who your teammate is 100% all the time. And I don't know that he's capable of doing that ever. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Going to My Daughter's Graduation After My Son Relapsed? My, male 51, wife, female 48, and I have two children, Jake, male 23, and Jess, female 18. Although they had the same upbringing, Jake sadly surrounded himself with the wrong people during his late teenage years and made some bad life decisions. Since he was around 17, he suffered with substance abuse issues and alcohol dependency. He's been through counseling on more than one occasion, and I've lost count of the amount of times that either my wife or I had to make personal sacrifices to go and tend to him. He's currently living in a recovery housing program where we hoped he would see improvements. This has caused understandable issues for Jess. I've missed hockey games and choir performances because I had to go tend to Jake, as has my wife. We try and make it up to her all the time, but I don't think missing important milestones really makes up for it. It's heartbreaking for me personally. Jake has been doing better lately and hasn't had any relapses or issues for the past few years. Jess's graduation was the other day, and my wife and I had tickets and couldn't wait. She's off to college, graduating with a great GPA, and we're really proud of her. However, only a couple of hours before the graduation, we received a call from the staff at Jake's housing program who said that he had a relapse incident and was in a really bad way. My wife was hysterical and immediately started telling me that we had to go there and help. I refused. I said that we'd missed enough events in Jess's life, and I wasn't missing her graduation. Although my wife told me how sad she was to miss it, Jake's health and well-being would take priority. I wasn't changing my stance. She got increasingly agitated and said she'd go herself, called a cab, and went. I took the car and watched Jess's graduation. It was one of the proudest days of my life, but when I saw Jess at the end, I could tell that she was visibly upset that her mom wasn't there. I explained, and you could tell her frustration. My wife made it to our celebratory dinner later, and she apologized, but the mood was sour. The incident with Jake was serious, serious but not a life-threatening emergency, and he has been admitted into treatment. My wife gave me the cold shoulder later, saying we should have been on the same page, been there for support, and that I had been selfish. I disagreed, saying she had been selfish in this scenario, and she tainted Jess's moment. This went on for a while, and I ended up sleeping on the couch. I still feel like I made the right decision, but I know I hurt my wife, and Jake's recovery is obviously of paramount importance as well. Am I the astronaut? Top comment here. His relapse was timed to interfere with her celebration. How many people thought that? How many people thought this is a play? This is a play because he knows when graduation is happening and he's going to trigger this to try to pull them his direction because he can't stand that she might get some attention. And he got half of what he wanted when your wife ran to him. You would both benefit from Al-Anon. AA. Change is not going to happen until you as parents change how you deal with his issues. So I know there's going to be a lot of people who have experience in this realm. Is the vibe that he absolutely manipulated and played his parents so that they would run to his aid and that his sister would be hurt by them not having him. And why? But why? Why can she not have anything? Is it not about her not having anything? Is it more about him exerting control? Well, why does he want her to suffer? Dude, it's Nikki says, yep, parents need to learn how to act when having an addict kid and a non-addict kid. Bridget, dad NTA, mom ask on one, brother brozo. So they're still in a stalemate here because wifey says that he was selfish. I think this is where it gets interesting for me. You're both wrong. Wife is like, you were selfish, and husband's like, you were selfish. No, your son was selfish. Let's understand what's happening here. Get on the same page about what's happening first. Right now, you guys are trying to throw blame back and forth to each other. It doesn't exist in either one of your areas. Understand what he was doing and don't allow yourselves to be manipulated. Understand what's happening, and then you can act on a united front. Right now, you have different worldviews about what's happening. Get on the same page about that, and everything will become much, much easier. Her saying that you were being selfish, and you saying that she was being selfish. I don't think either one of those is correct. I don't think it's a fair assessment of anything. You guys are trying to throw blame at each other when you are not the ones to blame. You're just allowing yourselves to be manipulated. And even here, Dad says, he doesn't question the timing. He doesn't question the motive of son having the issue that he had when he had it. He just says, I'm choosing to go deal with my daughter's graduation first, and then I'll deal with that. Doesn't get into, I think this might have been on purpose. I mean, understand the patterns, understand what's happening here. And I think mom feels parental guilt about son's condition, right? She feels parental guilt. So somehow she feels like it's her fault that he's in there and that she can't be there. She can't make it better for him. So anytime something happens, she runs at the drop of a hat. Dad has a different viewpoint. But it's like you guys are playing against each other when really you're both being played, and you just don't realize who the opponent is. But it isn't mother's fault. Totally Radical says, I agree. I don't think it's either one of their faults. I think they're being played, and they just don't realize what's happening here. And the sooner they realize that they are being manipulated and pitted against each other, like how much control does your child who's in rehab have over your lives right now? He's the mastermind. He's in rehab. And he's still running the show. How does that work? Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Will I Be the Astronaut for Uninviting My Brother to My Wedding After He Canceled on Hosting the Wedding? My fiance and I decided we wanted to have an intimate wedding ceremony instead of a large wedding. For the venue, we asked my brother and sister-in-law if we could have it in their backyard about a year ago. They said they would be honored to host. We knew it was a big ask, since they had a second newborn on the way, and we promised we would be unobtrusive as possible and take care of everything that needed to be taken care of. For a guest count, we are at 26 people, so as intimate as possible for a backyard wedding. They insisted it would be a wonderful setting, and it would mean a lot to them to have it there as well. We're pretty close-knit. We come from a household of strong family values and grew up together. So we're about 1.5 months out from our wedding day, and my brother just informed us that they could no longer host the wedding at their place. Through happenstance, their nanny's family friend, who's also a monk, found out we were having our wedding there and told them it would bring less luck to their family. Wait, what? Less luck to their family because there's going to be a wedding there? Apparently, the superstition goes that if you host a sibling's wedding at your house, you give away your luck to that family. And now that they are new parents to a 6-month and 2-year-old, they don't want anything to happen to them and want to give them the best chance at life they possibly can. Nobody knew about this until now. Our family has never really been superstitious. I know my sister-in-law's family is more conservative and believes in these sort of things. I'm pretty tolerant of others' belief systems, and while I don't understand it, I do respect it. But we are literally less than 2 months out now from our big day. Fortunately, a venue change isn't too difficult, but it definitely throws a curveball into logistics when we've had everything already set. I love my brother and would want the best for his family and the kiddos, but right now, I don't want to do anything with him. Adding info, we live in the US, not sure what religion or sect, guessing Buddhism. He did try to find us a new venue, not well thought out options, but still tried nonetheless. Did offer to cover whatever additional cost to send out invites. Was not explicitly stated, but based on our relationship and knowing my brother, he would try to cover the venue cost. Top comment, research from the Not website, 52 wedding superstitions. 17, don't pass a nun or monk on the way to your wedding. It's considered bad luck. Tell your brother that you're concerned he'll bring bad luck to your wedding due to his proximity and constant exposure to his nanny monk. NTA. Another comment, losing family over this seems like bad luck to me. What? Has anybody else heard of this? Candy Thunder, tell me you don't want to host without telling me you don't want to host. Yeah, somebody just decided they don't want to do it, right? Don't pass a nun or monk on the way to your wedding. It's considered bad luck. There are all kinds of superstitions out there. Shit, you could just like throw a dart and you could find a superstition to use as an excuse for something. So let's call it a bullshit excuse. Now the nanny has a friend who's a monk, and this is where this came from, right? Supposedly. If that was bullshit, or if they just took it and used it as an excuse to not have to host, whenever they offered to host in the first place, why the change of mind? It's not even something that the brother knew about. It's like somebody else passed that along. He's volleying back, right? Because brother exerted a choice. Brother exerted power in making a choice. He said, I'm choosing not to have the wedding here because it could be bad luck and we don't want it to affect our kids. So brother now, who's having the wedding, is like, okay, well, I can make choices too. And I'm going to choose not to have you at my wedding. It isn't going to achieve anything. To your point, Dr. Sweet, yeah, it's not going to achieve anything. To hear that is one thing. To take that as the gospel and be like, you're right, we cannot have this wedding here. I'm going to greatly inconvenience the people who I told we could. And yes, we're going to do that. There's got to be something else behind it. It's something they casually learned, or they just really, 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 really trust their nanny. And maybe the nanny was like, if you guys do this, I'm not going to do this job because you're bringing bad luck into this house and I will not be around for it. Now that could be enough potential pain for them to actually act on. It could be something like that. Yeah, I mean, you would. I do believe it's an ESH. How big of an asshole thing would it be for him to uninvite his brother to his wedding after he canceled on hosting the wedding? I still think it would be a pretty big asshole move. I'm going to go 2 here, actually. I'm going to say it's a definitely shouldn't do it because it's not going to accomplish anything. It's not like your brother chose to, at least not that we know of, chose to wrong you. He chose to believe in something else. And the thing he chose to believe in, he made the decision on based on the protection of his children. So it's not like you'd be like, that's dumb. I'm still doing it here. Come on. But not inviting him or canceling his invitation to the wedding is not going to achieve a damn thing. Nothing. And then you're in a tit for tat for the rest of your life and it's just who can screw the other one over the best? It doesn't achieve anything. It is an ESH, though. It is an ESH. Maybe they were looking for an excuse to not host, but he was at least helping them find another place. Is it worth not inviting him? It would be great to know the truth if there was an actual reason for them not wanting to host. That would be great. Would it change things? I'm guessing you have some kind of, you have 26 people there, but assuming you're still going to take some kind of pictures there, you're going to look back on these wedding pictures and be like, why wasn't my brother there? Oh, yeah. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.